Hey guys, this is Tom Box. Welcome to MST.TV. I have a very special guest with us here today.
What's up, guys? Pack here for the second time. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, welcome back, Pack. This time around, a lot of people asked for you to come back, and of course, I will try my best to deliver. And of course, Pack was happy to join us, so welcome, Pack.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe to his YouTube. Go to his Twitch. Go watch him. He's amazing. Watching him remote duel, you'll learn so much. You'll be a much better player. Every stream will make you one step better, getting into your tops, man, for sure.
Hopefully, yeah, that's the goal. But I mean, I'm doing this with Tom just to give you guys like better insight into like the metagame, and I think like stuff like this is really awesome for like the competitive community, just so you can get a better idea of like, you know, how to hand trap, what to hand trap, etc.
Yeah, there are bad.
I'm excited to do it.
Yeah, there are tons of bad things that you can do in the format, especially when the format's so fresh. That's where all the misplays are going to happen early on before the format gets defined. And I'm here to share with you guys some of my findings. I've been playing a lot of Drytron, and I've been playing Tri Brigade personally.
Yep.
And what have you been playing recently?
I played all of the above, so
all right,
so much Yu-Gi-Oh, so you guys already know. I can hopefully offer you guys some insight into each of these matchups.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know anything about the Ignister matchup at all. I haven't touched the deck. I haven't read any of their cards. So I'm going to be counting on you on that part. So across the top, we are going to look at our matchups here today. We have Tri Brigade. I think there's multiple variants right now. I think Zoo is pretty much cut out. I think it's objective that putting Zoo in your deck is pretty bad because it doesn't really generate you anything. You have to have Tri Brigade monsters to actually play now. Then there's Invoke Shaddoll Dogmatica. That is a pretty common matchup, especially for people that love playing Control. That is the one of the go-to decks. At Ignisters, of course, Drytron being one of the popular decks, and then we have also Sky Striker. These are not all the matchups. I'm going to try to do a second episode where we cover other decks, such as Virtual Worlds. We have also...
Yep, we got Salamangreats, right?
Yeah, Prank Kids. Don't forget, Prank Kids did not get touched by the ban list either, so they are around as well. We have Zombies, we have Alter Guys. We're going to talk about all of those because these are the decks that we're likely going to see. But for now, we're going to cover some of the matchups we can cover. And I don't want this going in an hour, but we are splitting this into multiple videos. So we're starting only with the hand traps here today, but we'll go into some of the go first, go second afterwards. So all right, Ultimate Counter Guide. You know what? Let's kick it off with DD Crow. This one has become a lot more popular because whether it be Bird, Tri Brigade, or just Tri Brigade in general, I've seen people just drop it in. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's better if you play Tri Brigade and play the card, but I don't think it's great against the deck.
Yeah.
They have the Fractal by itself can, you know, send Kit, send Nerval. So if you crow something, it doesn't matter, right? So
that's true.
Yeah.
But against them, I don't think they get. They get an X.
If it's in your main deck, like there's some use for it. So for example, if they open up like I think Nerval, if they open like Nerval and they try to like search a follow-up and they don't search Fractal, like maybe there's a case, but usually it's like, yeah, not that great.
Yeah,
actually, yeah, it's just terrible.
there's just no real good timing for the DD Crow. I think some people prefer the Skullmeister. I know I don't have Gamma in here. Gamma, it would be a very common side as well, but I've seen a lot more of these being a bit more effective than Gamma lately. But that's just from what I've seen. But you guys, if you guys think deep, you guys can figure out where you can put the Gamma. Next, we have Invoke Shaddoll Dogmatica.
I would say it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
It's pretty solid.
What would you hit?
Multiple like ways. So if they see their invoked engine, you hit the Alistair, and they, as long as they don't put invocation in the graveyard, which is really difficult for them, it's fine. If they draw Shaddoll monsters and they have like they search invocation, that's just like it is what it is. Nothing you can do about it. And if they get access to their Shaddoll engine, you can crow the target for construct, which is usually going to be sent, like Schism is going to be sent off of construct. So you should crow the Schism and they lose access to Winda if they don't play the pure version. And then for Dogmatica, you can like crow Titaniclad before end phase, so they don't get the search. You can also crow the Ecclesia when they try to activate Nadir. Most people only play one Ecclesia, so might be punishing on that. There's like, I don't know, those are like the parts. Right. But I would say Alistair and the target that construct tries to add back are the most important.
All right. You guys happy now? I'm typing it out for you guys live.
Live. Perfect.
Okay, so this is the matchup I'm not too sure about. At Ignister, what do they do? What's their game here?
Okay, so the goal of the deck going first is to set up a towers with Dunmari in the graveyard, which is a hot red if you control a Link 6. And then going second, it's goal to like basically OTK you, because Cyber's cars, extra deck wise, have like a lot of tools to get to access code.
Yeah.
Sometimes even 2 access codes a turn, which is what I did this past weekend. I would say Crow isn't that great against it. Crow at best like stops slash maze target, but they can like still extend past it. And then even if you Crow the Dormari, it trades 1-for-1 with like a hot red negate, which is like kind of like still mediocre, but you don't stop them from getting access to like the towers. So I don't think Crow is that great, and like you still have to out the towers, right? So
Okay.
it doesn't stop their game plan.
Okay, fair enough. Against Drytron, I think from personal experience, I would still hit the Ben 10, for sure.
Yep.
Hit the Ben 10. I don't think you lose a lot of value right now, and there's a lot of timing dependent stuff, because if they're gonna go for their Gamma, you should probably hit their Gamma if you already pre-hand trap them, so that they don't get the 2 bodies to play.
Something that I usually like to do is like, it's very underrated, but if they go Gamma effect and they have another Diatron in the graveyard that they haven't used yet, just basically Crow the other Diatron in the grave instead of the Gamma, because Gamma will resolve, but it won't be able to like summon another name, and then you take out the other name out of the graveyard completely, so that it loses its like, I guess, ability to activate again. You can also like DD Crow the Ben 10, because you cut them out of like access to ritual, and they only play 4 to 5 rituals depending on the version. So I would say those are like the best ones. The other non-obvious one is Medionis. Most people are on 1 Medionis, so like if you Crow the Medionis, they just lose access to like their ritual engine, because people aren't playing 2, so they're gonna have to like carry themselves with like the extra deck. So those are like the 3.
Yep, those are the key 3. Medionis is kind of a funny one, because I know that's going to be a huge problem, especially skilled players will know to hit that. And taking that away is like, you don't have... Okay, a lot of people are choosing to play the big dragon, the 4K beat stick.
Draconid,
because like people don't a lot of people don't realize you can get OTK'd if you leave a big board on the field. It clears everything. It's pretty good against Sky Striker as well, especially when they're doing Rave Revival stuff. It forces them to actually go into Kaina, because you can hit twice, and basically it focuses every single problem there. But even Kaina can't target it, because
Kaina can't target it.
So
it's 4K, like it's UCT, literally can attack all special summon monsters. Like it's really nice.
It's a very powerful card. So taking away Medionis takes away all boss lines, and it's the one that can, even if you get like extra deck lock, it's the one guy that can come and still wreck your face. Next, Sky Striker against DD Crow. There's tons of good targets. Since we only have 1 engage, it's worth taking away their engage for sure. It's worth taking away Ray when Ray's gonna do the revival, especially before you go. Don't do it in damage step, because that's not allowed. But there are names that you can definitely use against for Sky Striker.
Ray, Rose, Ray, Rose, all the names that it targets. It's a really good card in this matchup.
Yeah, it's really powerful. This is just old school stuff, kind of going back in from what we know from previously. Okay, next in line we have Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's pretty good against like all matchups.
I would say it's good against all the matchups, but against Tri-Brigade, it's actually it's like pretty weak. I would give this a yellow check mark if you have that.
I have the yellow dash.
But
I got the dash.
Yeah, the dash. Yeah. So the reason why it's so mediocre is because you can only hit Tanky or Fractal. And like if they already have access to like Nerval or like their engine, like it's like very, very weak. So it's like okay at basically stopping from getting them started, but it's not like amazing by any means. It's like okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean against Invoke Shaddolls, it's pretty insane.
So yeah, this one takes out Fractal and also deals with the Tanky. But I think personally,
Desires maybe, like I don't know. It's okay.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird spot, because there's just so many follow-ups.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay, next we are moving on into our Invoke Shaddol. You might as well just
Nadir, Shaddol, Nadir, Shaddol Fusion, Alistair. Next. Literally. I mean, all the power spells and like all the, the best normal summon is in its arsenal, all full to Ash, so. But yeah, Nadir, Alistair, and Shaddol Fusion, I guess. I mean, if they normal Alistair, you have no choice but to Ash it, because if it resolves and you get Mechaba, you can't really play around the Deer Servant. If they start off with the Deer Servant, you also still Ash that.
Now they're
there
locked
is
out.
an argument. They're locked out. Yeah, there's an argument to like maybe let them get to Ecclesia, and then like you Ash the App Clone, but I think I just rather Ash the Deer completely.
Okay. At Ignister, I have no idea what they do. I just know that Ignister Island gets you a search, and I believe the Dark Infant also lets you fetch the island.
Yeah, so okay, so the Ignister lines are you normal summon either a Chi-Chi or Picari. Chi-Chi searches another any level 4 or lower Ignister from the deck, and Picari searches any Ignister spell or trap. So when you go normal summon a Chi-Chi, which is the monster adding one, you never really Ash that, because the only way the deck keeps playing is that if the if it has a field spell on the field. Once it gets a field spell on the field, it can extend infinite times, because the field spell is not a once per turn card.
It's like once per attribute or something, right?
It's once per attribute. Yeah, it's once per attribute, and it has a grave effect to reset itself from the graveyard, kind of like the shipyard in Plunders. So yeah, the best thing to do is usually Ash the Link 1, because if you stop them from getting access to their like their extender in the deck, then it makes them really hard for them to like complete the rest of the combo. If they hard draw the field spell, then it is what it is. But yeah, most of the time you want to hit the Link 1 for sure.
So that's the what's it, Dark Infant?
The Dark Infant, yeah.
Yeah, the Dark Infant.
Yeah. But I'll be talking about ways to like play through hand traps with the Ignister deck.
Save that for your channel. I think people would love that.
Yeah, don't worry about it, guys. I got you.
All right, next, Drytron Ash Blossom.
Yes.
This one, it's kind of a weird one, because there's just many ways to kind of play through it. I would personally like to hit Nova. Nova usually does have some impact. It's okay, but like you really don't know what they're going for. I mean,
you don't know. Yeah, I'll tell you the best spots when I see Dytron is you Ash Alpha, because you put him on hard drawing Ben 10 or Diviner.
Yep.
So like if you deck build Dytron correctly, you should typically have access to like 5 to 6 Ben 10s, including 1 hard drawn, 3 Diviners, like maybe 1 or 2 prep. But if you hit the Alpha, it stops the access to Ben 10, and the only way they get ritual access is if they hard draw the Diviner to combat that. So it's really awkward for them. So if the normal summon Diviner is their first action, I would also still Ash that, because it's pretty strong. The other thing you can also decide to Ash is Zeta, because it stops them from getting ritual access. But if they have Diviner and they know how to play the deck, they can like Diviner, send Herald, and add the Medionis, which is a play that is not commonly seen. But those are like the big two. And then the other play that I usually like to do is I Ash the first thing I see, which is like Nova.
Yeah.
Because Nova is like very scary. So it's like those are like the big three: Alpha, Diviner, Nova. Sometimes you can make an argument to Ash like Cyber Emergency, but I usually just wait.
That one's like kind of a riskier one if you hit the emergency.
It's risky
because like that's just a blank search. I mean, there's like tons of follow up. There's Foolish Barrow. That's an easy follow up. There's like if they follow up with the Nova, that's even worse for you. There's just too much. Like later in the game, the emergency actually becomes even more valuable, because now they're likely trying to kill you. Now, if everything's in the graveyard, they're probably gonna search for the ritual monster, and that's something you probably don't want to see anymore. And if everything's in the graveyard already, you probably have access. If you have access to like Bells and stuff like that, you can probably save Ash for that. There's just a lot of things that you can hit, but again, it really depends on what they do. First action, my preference right now is to hit the Diviner, because it shuts down 2 things. You don't put a 6 on the board. That's pretty key, and they don't get like an additional search with like whatever they throw into the grave. And you can also stop like if you set up your board, if they set up your board and you know that they're gonna try to pop one of your floodgates, you probably should hit the Diviner, because they're throwing the Tis in the grave, and you don't want them to get the 6. The 6 is a follow up. If they get the Beatrice, they win. Yeah. So
it's pretty good.
It's really good. Striker, don't hit the engage.
It's like very average, I'll be honest.
Don't hit the engage.
Usually you want to hit on Shizuku, because you don't want them to even have engage at all, and like anywhere close to them. Obviously, you Ash it when you can on the engage if it's like 3 spells and stuff. So there's sometimes not much you can do about that, but I mean, it's very mediocre. Sky Striker is one of the decks that it's like very similar to Pure Zoo. It can like navigate itself and maintain a lot of advantage. Like literally 1 Ray Like if you think about it, Kagari gets negated, Shizuku gets negated, Hayate like always also like one card literally plays through 2 hand traps, and you feel like you hand loop yourself twice just by hand trapping the Sky Striker deck. And I mean that's why cards like Crow are so much better, because it takes that resource out of their advantage. So
now, one card that I would throw an Ash on is when they're trying to set up Ray, because Sky Striker without the Ray in the grave is hasn't really gotten their engine started, because they don't get the cycle cards that well. You can hit the area 0, and that's the one card you can hit through the multi-roll.
The graveyard effect.
Yeah, through the multi-roll, because multi-roll only prevents the activation of spell cards through being responded to, but doesn't stop spell effects, so you can still hit that. And that's when it's a pretty obvious tell they don't have their Ray available. Because if they had their Ray available already with the area 0, you can bet that they're going to go for the plus play, which is summon the Ray and use the area 0 and do the area 0 chain onto the Ray, or the Ray chain onto the area 0 to fetch additional cards and get the body. So so there are tells on this, and that's why the area 0 is the one start. That's like the only window you have for that. All right, next line, Imperm. I think this is one of my favorite hand traps coming back in. Against Tri-Brigade.
I like it a lot. Imperm and Valor are just crazy against this deck. Imperm having multiple uses, so it depends on how you play your deck. So if you're playing Ditrons, I never actually Imperm like any of their names on their turn. Really? I just let them like do whatever. I let them do whatever the hell they want, because like the way you're supposed to Imperm the deck if you're playing Ditron is you just let them make Appaloosa and you Imperm Appaloosa, and then you just play through just Revolt. Like pretty much. So that's like my thoughts on it. But if you're playing like other decks that are trading 1-for-1s, you can just justify it by just imperming their the first thing they normal summon. Like when I'm playing Ignister, like I know that like Appaloosa is pretty like annoying for me sometimes. I like don't even imperm their normal summon. I just imperm like their Appaloosa. But usually if you're playing like other decks like Sky Strikers, or like you're playing decks that are supposed to like trade 1-for-1 really well, it's just usually the first name activation, and you put them on having a Karis extend. So yeah, those are the 2 for me.
Invoke Shadow Dogmatica. No, I agree with that last one there.
Yeah, for Invoked, I mean it's obvious, Alistair, right? Like Imperm is slightly better because you can top deck as a 6 to beat Winda, beat Mechaba, then Valor. What else is there? Valor is a light monster that they can get banished by if they hard draw Invocation, which good Invoke players always do. But and then I guess the only other thing you should consider imperming is Ecclesia, which is pretty problematic too. Sometimes you hold it for Maximus, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Maximus is kind of a weird card right now, because it does benefit some of the other decks if you do activate it with a bad timing. Drytrons will get some free searches, and even get yourself pop because Entis exists in your extra deck. So
yeah, you can chain block the pop too, so it's pretty annoying. For them.
At Ignister, this is all yours. This floor is yours.
Yeah, link 1, just link 1. The choke point is the link 1. That's why you like I don't know how people play only 1 like or 2 field spells in Ignister. Like you want to hard draw the field spell because the choke point is the link 1. So there's
how much of an impact if your field spell gets blown up?
What do you mean?
Say it gets like Ghost Ogre. How bad of a situation are you in?
It's not the worst. Like they normal summon Picari and you chain like Ghost Ogre, you can search the Reborn and just activate Reborn, bring it back, make the link 1, search the field spell, and then keep playing. So like,
what if they blow up the field spell itself? The field spell does activate, right?
Oh, yeah, that doesn't matter. I actually in the finals of the Giant Card this past weekend, I got Dryad and Ogre to my field spell and I still won. But it's basically because the field spell has a grave effect that not a lot of people know about because no one has read the Ignister cards. But it says, banish any Ignister monster from the graveyard. Set this card from the graveyard back to the field zone. So I did get ogred on it, and all
right,
yeah, it just didn't matter.
Okay. See why there's no ogre on the side here?
Yeah.
All right. Drytron Imperm. Imperm has for me 2 effects that you can use it on. Preferably hit the Diviner, because Diviner is just really one of the things that you really don't want to let go, because it's really the Manju. It's a Manju that has a follow up to extend with. But the other thing to hit is going to be the Drytron Mu Beta. You can chain it onto their Ritual Summon, which forces them to send the whole package into the graveyard, which hurts a lot especially when they don't have the body ready. Like unless you really don't want to send something into the graveyard, especially like when you see that they don't have a Gamma and you know the cards that they're gonna get tossed in is Gamma. You should probably stop them from hitting the grave because just hit it early. Because even if they try to ritual summon, they still have to send the whole package now if they don't have another Drytron name in their hand. So those are the main two that I would hit. Everything else is kind of pointless. You can't there's like once ultimateness comes onto the board, it's nothing works anymore. So you're kind of stuck hitting the stuff that does the setup. So it's going to be the Mu Beta and it's going to be the Diviner. Diviner is just it's two birds with one stone. You drop them from follow-up, and again you drop them from sending the whatever effect that they're trying to get. It's pretty big. Striker versus this is still Shizuku territory for me. Or maybe a Hayate. It's really
like
weird.
It's so bad. Like, I mean, like at best you effect failure like Hagari, but then if they're going first, they can play around effect failure very easily. Two ways actually. In damage, they can go battle phase, Hayate, crash, send Ray effect triggers, and still in battle phase use Ray effect attacking the Kagari to play around effect failure, or they just like tag it out at end phase. So like Veiler's just like terrible in that matchup, and even if you imperm them, you almost always go -1 because they just make another link, and that's like another +1 situation for them. It's very, very like mediocre. Like hand trips are so bad in Sky Striker.
Yeah, like another card that some of them are running, of course, Eagle Boosters just trades your hand trap, and if they have multi roll up, you neg 1 because they get the card back, and they'll survive the turn because now you can't kill them through the battle phase. It's actually kind of more of an it's just hard. It's just hard to hit them with stuff just because Eagle Booster is also a card, and if they choose to fetch it's awkward. But there are some things that you can try your best on, I suppose. Like sometimes you just have no choice. Shizuku, especially when you can prevent them from adding a card, it's pretty big. Hayate is kind of like an iffy one. If they start with a Hayate, or if you're gonna get killed, like in time, then throw it on so they can't direct attack. That's like in time. Kind of important. Like situations change. Ghost Belle. I love this card. This card is great.
Oh yeah, this card is like really good against Tri Brigade, but it depends if they make Appaloosa or not. If they do, then it's not that great. If they don't, then it's like fine. It just depends. Like if you need to pair Ghost Belle typically with like some sort of removal on the Appaloosa, and it's like solid.
Let me grab the correct. Let me go with the correct icon for this. But yes,
it's like one of those cards you gotta pair. Yeah, you definitely gotta pair it because they most of the time do make the Appo. So yeah, it
can't be alone. Yeah. But basically, you just have to handle the whole scenario in a sequence, because they're not no one's going to really blind revolt and put up a dude unless they have unless they read you really hard. So they went with Rugal and then they put the body on the field anyway. Then that's a different story. But this mainly is to hit revolt.
But if they make Rugal, then they can just get Belled on revolt. So it's like really like Ghost Belle puts them in a pickle. But most of the better plays I know always try to make Appaloosa to play around Belle in the revolt.
Yep.
Especially because it's actually getting a lot of popularity. A lot of players are catching on that it's really good hand trap this format.
Yep.
And then we have Invoke Shadal Dogmatica. So if they don't have Meltdown, I mean, you can negate Invocation with Belle. Because it negates activation, just Meltdown hopefully is not up. You can Belle Construct effect to add back, Schism, and of course you can Belle Nadir. So
it's like a really high impact card. You just basically it's a jack.
It's basically Ash Blossom.
Yeah,
really
it's Ash.
Enough. Yeah.
This is of course scenario wise no copies. No meltdown. Schism.
That's very important.
You hit a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, it's like construct target like Nadir. There's just so many.
Yeah, Nadir.
But obviously, Invocations gives them fall in the same category of like you can Bell it as long as they don't have Meltdown up.
Yeah, just be careful because like that Meltdown can throw off a lot of people. It's kind of like if I know some people don't really run Fafnir for their Drytron, but the people that do, it does catch people off guard since all ritual summon effects, dude. You can't get negated. So if you try to negate it, you're just gonna pay cost for nothing. And
the first LCS I played with Dytron, I played against Paolo, right? Like really like known player. Yeah. And he belled my he belled my Meteonis under Fafnir, and he like scooped immediately after I told him he like.
It does nothing. Yeah, it does nothing.
Yeah. It's just very tilt. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So at Ignister, what is up with that? I know there's transcode talker that you can probably stop from getting the additional body, but we're taking this line.
It's like okay. Like you can do it on like the you can like do it on what do you call it, the Dark Templar, which so charges back 3 monsters. So there's only points.
Okay, of course, adding Mr. Dark Templar. I completely don't know what they do. That's
Dark Templar is a link 3 in the archetype that says if any monster is special summoned to the zone it points to, summon back as many monsters as possible from your grave that are level 4 or lower Ignister monsters. So it's just like free soul charge, but those are like the 2 transcode talker, splash mage. You can negate Doyon effect, which is a card to add back from the graveyard. Those are like the targets. It's not bad.
I guess the highest impact would be stopping Dark Templar.
Yeah.
I think that would kill you. Transcode is also pretty scary because transcode usually the next summon to follow is the access code.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna die after that. And access code.
There's ways to play around it, but I mean, it's like with any other combo deck. There are ways to play around it if you think your opponent has it. So, but it is like still very like it's one of those hand trap that puts them on having another card to play through it, right? So
that's true.
Yeah.
All right, Ghost Belle against Drytron. You hit a lot of things. Okay, the name's engrave.
Yeah, name's in the grave. Gamma in hand is the only exception. You can
Meteonis summon effect. Meteonis other. Can you stop the other effect? I believe.
Yes, you can.
Both effects.
Yep. Both Meteonis. Is there anything else that we're missing?
There is. Oh, you can. No. I think that's mainly it. Those are the typical targets that I've seen people hit, and they are some of the most impactful ones. To say the least. But remember, you can't hit the ones in hand if they activate because it's guaranteed that they are not going to be summoning from the graveyard.
Yep.
So, the Meteonis one actually catches people off guard just because they forget that you're summoning from the graveyard, and anything that summons from the grave is
bellable.
That can definitely stun.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a pretty big one. In fact,
Sky Striker, this card is actually broken.
I love this card against Sky Striker.
Yeah, so like a lot of people don't do this, and it hurts me. But they bell the Kagari, but they always forget that like you can bell rain damage step, guys. It's actually very very powerful.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, it's very very strong. It's so like underrated, but belling rain damage step puts them on like no names next turn unless they set up follow up to have a name. So it's very very strong. And helps you like kill so much easier. The other obvious one is Belle and Kagar when it gets back engaged.
Yep.
But those are like the big 2. Shark Cannon is also a thing if you need to protect your graveyard. It's a very very strong card. It's very versatile. It's used against the Skyscraper matchup. I like it a lot.
In general, remember if you are gonna get hit by a Call by the Grave, Belle is the one of the cards that can use it as a follow-up, similar to Gamma. If you needed to stop someone from, if you want your hand trap to go through, then Belle is another one of those cards that can let your hand trap get through. All right, now we're gonna go into more targeted territory. Now we're stopping things from getting banished with the artifact Lancea. But before we continue, just make sure you guys go find Pack's channel, hit the subscribe button, go follow him on Twitch already. Like, look at this knowledge bomb that he's dropping on you, helping you guys not misplay. Give him a follow, and don't forget to show a little love to little Tom Box here.
Drop a follow, guys. Drop a like, subscribe. You guys know.
All right,
you guys know how to do it.
Lancea, I love this card. I'm gonna say just be careful. I would probably just wait for the first monster to drop just to be safe from Gamma. You don't want to run into a Gamma where now they're gonna summon an Omega on you as well, rip another card out of your hand. It feels terrible because it's kind of like you got a -2 for nothing. And now they're gonna be in a bad shape. So I would wait for the first monster. What do you do? What do you say?
I would wait as well. However, there's a couple reasons and arguments to shotgun it early. There's like multiple reasons. So Desires. Yeah. That's a very important card to like stop. But if you're going down the Tom Box route and you think they have Gamma, you don't do it. You wait for the normal summon. It's really important you wait for the normal summon because if some people are still on the Zoo engine, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
And if they search, Rat Pier, you need like the Lancea almost does like absolutely nothing because they still end on Appaloosa. But at least you stop them from going more plus. But I don't know, Lancea is not bad. Rescue Cat can not like they can sort of play through it, but like they need to like, have Karis. So it's just like an extra tri-beast. So I don't know, it's okay. It's not bad, but definitely wait for the normal summon.
Yeah. Just be safe. Like it's
yeah.
not like they have a quick effect to banish all their cards anyway.
Yeah. So like it just depends because right now when we look at the spreadsheet, we clearly see that hand traps are impactful in this format. It hits like at least a lot of these decks, right? So if people adapt to that and play it like tactics, right? Then you have to choose your poison, right? Like, do you want to lose to the tactics or do you want to lose to the gamma? It's one or the other, really. So that's like a call that you have to make. It's like a gut, like internal, like feeling.
Instincts, man.
So
Instincts.
Yeah, it's just really that's all it really is. So just decide. I would say.
Yep. Lancea versus Invoke Shadow Dogmatica. I think it's pretty good against when they start off with the Invoke stuff.
Yeah.
They just really don't get any chance to. Okay, unless they hard open terrible.
Yeah.
Then maybe, but they can't banish their Alistair, so the whole thing kind of fizzles. And I do like putting the card into the graveyard without the Alistair getting banished, so they can't even cycle the invocation back. So in that regard, it's pretty good. Let me just grab it correctly. So it's mainly against the Alistair, all that junk, and probably wait for the summon. I'm a little scared sometimes about Gamma, but yeah, don't. This is not exactly a card you should shotgun, because they can do something else. They do have alternative routes.
Yeah, like you could wait for the active invocation and chain the Lancea. That's a play, but it puts invocation in their graveyard. So if they find some clever way to banish their Alistair again, they get added back. I've seen other people just like activate Lancea right away on the normal summon, so that you can't even legally attempt to activate invocation. I typically wait for the invocation because I just want them to have like the card in their grave, and it's also really important because sometimes like they get really clever. So like they start setting invocations that if you Lancea right on the normal summon, they start setting invocation that bluffs with Imperm. And like if you pop it, you put invocation in the grave anyways, right? So I'd rather just have them like put it in the grave and just know it's there. And if they find a clever way to banish it, they find a clever way with Schism, with Aerial, etc., etc. But it is what it is.
Yeah. So there's that. I think it's still pretty good since invocation is one of the lines of play for normal summon Alistair. It's the normal summon Alistair line that you're shutting down. Ignister, do you guys even banish cards except for like?
Cyber's Wicked banishes to search Buruburu, so there's that. It's like very average. Like you need to pair it with like probably like one or two other hand traps for it to be like really good.
I don't think it's
really bad.
worth it. I don't think it's worth it. You're making it sound like it's definitely not worth it. Drytron, it's
I just say it because I lost to it once, but the dude had like two other hand traps, so I was like, and then I was like, wow, Lancea was really good. I'm like, I really don't think it was the Lancea.
I think it was the other guys.
Yeah. But yeah, Dytron, it's a no-no as well.
Take it out. Just take it out. It's so garbage. It's
so bad. Yeah.
Like the only guy that would really banish something is Draconids. Draconids would banish maybe two as cost. Like you're not gonna, and it's that's not even on the right turn. So and I heard some people say this. They're like, I forgot what they say here. They said that you can use it for Sky Striker to stop people from like DD crowing or stuff. Like, dude, if you're gonna get DD crowed, it's on your turn. You can't Lancea this stuff.
I mean, bro, like
against Sky Striker, it's pretty bad because you want their stuff to get banished because because they've used their card. There's nothing really you care about here. So
they'd be like, "Yo, thanks for the free multi-roll." I'm like, it's so bad.
I've seen like I played against Team Samurai X1 and he was using it. Yeah. And in the game that he hard plus because he had his Widow Anchor, but then he Lancea me, and then he started playing all his spells. He actually got to reset that same card again. So that's where they would use it against Tri Brigade. Yeah. They could, and that's when their back row gets even scarier because of the follow up Lancea on your turn. So just be careful. Like Sky Striker, they can utilize this card a little bit more than other decks. Okay, now we're down to our last line. We're 34 minutes in. We're gonna finish this off nice and clean. We'll see if we can do like less than a minute each. Drone Locker versus Tri Brigade. Pretty mediocre, I would say. Mediocre. I think it's pretty bad. I mean, there's only really Tenki is the only thing that you can really hit that doesn't have a strong follow-up. So I'm gonna just say it's bad because, like, unless they just play Desires, like it's you know what? I'll be fair.
It's Senki Desires. Yeah, it's Senki Desires, and like, it's Senki Desires, and it stops them from getting to Revolt. That's basically it.
Yeah, you know what? I'll give it a dash because stopping a Revolt search is pretty good, but it's situational and it's ooh, I just destroyed this whole view. Hold on, guys. We're scrolling back up here. We're back. We're back. Destroying my own layouts, guys. This is how we do it live. So it's mainly just Tenki and Desires. Every other option is bad.
Yeah, if it's in your main deck, it's fine, but definitely don't side it. Keep it in.
Next we have Shadow Dogmatica. It's actually pretty
Solid.
good. It's really good. Like the moment you stop the first line, it's basically
It turns off one of their. It turns off like one part of their engine, so I like it.
or multiple.
Like, if
like
yeah,
Meltdown
multiple.
is like gold. Meltdown is the gold search. Like seriously, Meltdown is the best. Any of the search, Nadir, Alistair, all worth it, I think. Because if they go Alistair, and even if they don't have anything, if they don't have like the other engine, you just don't really care anymore. Because then you're just dealing with the invoke line. But if they start off with the Meltdown and they do have something, you're shutting down the Ecclesia, you're shutting down like the punishment search. It's just a ton of stun that you're turning off. It's four. I believe it's about like 4 searches that you can perform per turn.
Yeah,
pretty devastating.
pretty good.
Ignister.
Droll's really good. Really good.
It's really good.
I
I
searched
did
like
not
maybe
know
like
this.
10 times a turn. Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty good. So
let's just say it's good. Oh my god, it destroyed the layout again. Sorry guys, you guys want it live? Here we go. We're typing it out now. This is what we get. Okay. It's not just Dark Infinite, it's basically every search.
it's like the normal summon. Every search. We have like literally every card searches in the deck. So
and this
Dash
one,
it's no brainer.
I'm just gonna do
every
this.
search.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Against Sky Striker, this one's kind of awkward. It's not like
it's not good.
It's like
it's not. Yeah.
It's not like they have 3 engage, okay? If they have 3 engage, it was great because that was like the engage, the Shizuku, the follow-up engage. There's about like, each engage is like considered as what 2 cards, but some people are playing the Metal Foes engine back in there, the Metal Foes fusion with the Foolish Burial Goods to set up the 2 cards so that the turn 1 becomes the draw additional card, and if they go Kagari into it, of course they get to draw another card, search another card, which is a pretty solid setup, but that is the one scenario that allows it to do it.
It's like mediocre. Like I guess the only way you get punished is like Rhoda into like Ray, and then the Shizuku they can't. It turns off AO. Like I don't know. It's like okay if it's in your main deck, but I'm definitely not signing that card in. Like let them get their searches, side in the back row removal. You know what I mean? So
we are closing this one out here. So it's just mainly Rota. We're just really. It's not even
Rhoda
worth it for the
Upstart.
engage.
Yeah. It's really not.
It's like every other card is kind of what we're looking at. I mean, like sure they can area 0, but even under Droll, they can still area 0 to send stuff into the graveyard because the add is not mandatory. So that's why you can still bypass it. But yeah, this covers the entire list right here. What are your thoughts on this list so far?
I think it looks pretty solid. You can tell like the format is definitely centered around like multiple hand traps. That's why I've always been a huge advocate of decks that can play multiple tech cards, because in a format where like hand traps is so prevalent, you need to be able to like, stop your opponent from playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is super hot in here. My brain's like really fried. Thank you guys for watching part 1 where we talk about hand traps. And we're back into this format. I like building decks with hand traps, honestly. I know it's a little luck based, but once you side deck into it, where you have a good number of them, having a good mix up in your hand, it forces decks to be low resource on their combo, so they have to be smart about how they combo while disrupting their opponent from actually being able to play. I think that's actually really crucial right now. But yeah, remember guys, go hit up Pack, go check out a stream. You stream every day, every week.
Yeah, every day, every week, like 5 to 6 p.m. around that time, maybe closer to 6
Eastern, guys.
Eastern. Yeah, and then like Saturday, I usually take the day off because I have tournament days on those days. So if I'm not streaming, I'm playing in the tournament. So
all right. Well, guys, don't forget to hit up MST.TV. You guys subscribe if you guys want to see part 2 and 3. We got going first tech, going second tech. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.